All right, well, tough game. Maryland is really, really good. They obviously are very talented. They're they put you in binds with their ball screen offense and some of the things they do, and it's because they've got really good players and they execute it well. So we got to work on that. I look back to the game that we played last night, and we're a different team. Last time we played Maryland, how many games ago was that? Six, seven. Okay, so six. But we are. I don't know if we're a better team. We're such a mentally tougher team, and that's just very, very evident by watching the game. The looks on our guys' faces, you can just tell we've grown up since that game. So we've it's going to be a tough one, but we got to be ready for it.
Richard, did you sense like after that Maryland game, was that kind of a kick in the teeth for the guys that made them?
Well, I had made the comment, and Marcus made it sound like I was throwing my players under the bus, and I was not. I was solely saying they need to put ownership of plays at the end of the game. Are there things that I can do better? 100%, and we can execute things better. But at the end of the day, at the end of that game, individually, we did things that you just can't do. And they took ownership of it. Since that game, they did, and they had that players-only meeting. And I always laugh at those things because I never know what gets accomplished. But I will say if something got accomplished, it was that stop making excuses, make plays at the end of games. And they have done that since that game. So if there's something that came out of it, it was that. Jordan Murphy's been a much, much better player since then because he was not very good that game. He really, really struggled. Nate's obviously playing better. So maybe that was it. I'm not sure.
What do you notice about the key to making those plays at the end of games? Is it just trying to calm down and not put too much pressure on it, or just execution?
I think it's just performing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just going and making plays and understanding that, I'm not going to be able to make the free throw for you. And that was really my biggest thing was like, you guys are looking to me, like, go make a play. Go make a basketball play. And they've done that, and that's why we've won 5 in a row. Nate Mason has done that when he's needed to. Murph's done it. Dupree did it. So it's they've taken ownership of it, and that's always uncomfortable for young guys to want to do that. But they've done that.
How special is it that even as a freshman, Curry's best moments have been in sort of the biggest moments at Purdue, the end of Indiana, last game a little bit?
Yeah, it's great. He makes winning plays, like I've said. He needs to make the three at Purdue. He does it. He needs to, tip the ball. Last game versus Michigan, he finds a way to do it. We get the ball back. Offensive rebound versus Indiana. So he's just making winning plays, and freshmen don't normally do that. So for him to do that and to be a young freshman just shows you, Amir gets all the hype, which, it's justifiably so, but Eric is going to be a terrific player in this league as well.
Do you think he's sort of benefited from Amir having all the hype, being the local kid, being as highly touted as he was, that Eric can sort of just slide in the back and do his work without?
I don't think Eric is the type of guy that needs that, but maybe. Yeah, maybe so. He's got no ego. Like, he's played some games, single-digit minutes, never said a word. I throw him in at the 5 sometimes. He doesn't say anything. He's got no ego. He just wants to win.
You talk about the front court position. Going into the season, you had thoughts of playing Eric at the 4 and 5, and then yet you still rotate Bakari in there, and then Jordan had the slump, but he's come back. Reggie's in foul trouble. I mean, there's a lot of things you've had to juggle with that front court, but yet they're playing like that last game. Obviously, at one point, that was kind of your strength. You beat Michigan up. Can you just talk about the growth of your front court this year and just what you've had to deal with, like foul trouble with Reggie, Jordan slump? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's been important that we've had some versatility in that. Eric playing the 5 gives us a different dimension where we can do some different things. I think Bakari has given us some really solid minutes as well. He's provided great depth. Because Reggie just has not shown the ability not to not foul, stay out of foul trouble. So we got to be prepared for it. I always like having guys who can play multiple positions. Reggie and Bakari cannot, where Murph and Eric can, and that provides some versatility for us. Because there's some teams like Michigan is not a traditional back to the basket type team with their big guys. So sometimes you got to switch some ball screens. We did that, and I thought that was effective, and that's why I went with Eric at the end of the game instead of Reggie, because they when they put some bigs in there who could shoot, it's a problem.
And then Eric benefited from, obviously Reggie was out for a while, his off-court issue, but also the injury. And then you had to put Eric in there at the 5 quite a bit for practice. And you saw what he could do.
Not really. We had gas at the 5, so it
But you saw him.
there's not a difference in our offense really with the 4s and the 5s. Like when Joey was here, there was a difference because we really played him on the perimeter. But he's got great length. Probably what an underrated thing is Murph is 6'5", 6'6", and he's able to do what he's done. But yeah, I mean Eric's always had that versatility, which I really like because he's got good length.
Richard, when you have either like Nate earlier in the season, Dupree the last couple games before last game, just going through not being able to get the ball in the basket, how do you try to pull it out of them and keep their heads in it while they're not?
I try to give them as much confidence as possible. I don't avoid it in the sense of like, hey, I know you're not playing well. Like with Dupree, it was like we need you to start performing like the player we know you are. And much like Nate, he was going through it. Murph was going through it. And, you just, like with Murph, in my opinion, it was just a mental, he was worried about the wrong things. And, you figure out what's on their mind. Is it something off the court? Is it something with their family? Is it something with class? Whatever it may be. And you just try to get to that. Amir goes through it at times. They all do. The mental part of the game is so extremely important. And I think a benefit of me being young is I'm not oblivious to it, because they got a lot on their plates. And so I try to take it head on and get whatever it is that's the issue, address it, get them better from it. And it's worked pretty good this year with all these guys because they get a lot on their plates. They're under a lot of pressure and under a lot of duress, and I just try to be as honest as possible. But I try to give them a lot of confidence as well.
How do you, with a guy like Dupree, Amir, both quieter guys, is it hard to draw it out, or can you relate and have good conversations with them?
Yeah, with Dupree, I told him, I'm his number one cheerleader, at times his only cheerleader. But I when you recruit guys, you develop such good relationships with them to where you're always going to tell them, you're going to be honest with them. But with quieter guys, it is more difficult, and so that's where I've got to pull it out of them more. Amir is not as quiet off the court as he is on the court. He's pretty quiet on the court. But off the court, you can get him going. So, it's just individual meetings as much as you possibly can. Because if you avoid it, they're not going to want to talk about it. So we meet with these guys often.
Did he have a hard time figuring out how to help the team off the bench? I know the first game was
Who?
for Dupree.
No, he didn't. He didn't care about. He played well.
Right.
So no.
He didn't care, but did it just?
No, he played well. He was playing well off the bench for the first 3 or 4 games. So try to create a different storyline, Marcus.
The stretch where he struggled, what was his?
It was a little bit of everything. He wasn't playing well. I don't think it was his role. I just think he was not playing well, and nothing quite was working. And he was compounding it by being too hard on himself.
So are you going through that same kind of confidence building with the team right now? He's had a couple of tough games.
You're a psychologist every day in this profession, but yeah, he's one too. Like they know, it's being able to individually perform. Like as a coach, you're talking about team, right? Well, there is a responsibility for you to individually perform, to the best of your ability, and you got to remind them of when they're playing well, and you got to show them why they're doing certain things. And if they're pressing, if they're taking bad shots, I tell them all the time, was that shot for you or was that shot for the team? And, Like Akeem shot one last game. It was like you just wanted to see it go in so that you could feel better about yourself, and then you could move on to, okay, we're good. I made my shot, and that's just mentality. The mentality you cannot have. So with Akeem, made some big shots for us this year, and he's been a huge part of our success. So you just got to remind him of that.
How does the scouting report on Maryland change without the big man coming off the bench?
He has been kind of in and out with injuries, so I don't think it changes a whole lot. And if he's healthy, and you hate to see that happen, he's as good as any of the bigs out there because he's big and athletic and strong. But it doesn't change a whole lot because he was just coming off an injury when he played us the first time.
Richard, just big picture, I mean, walking around campus and things, is it just 100% different feel right now?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I'm used to everybody hating us and hating me and not talking to me, so it's been uncomfortable. People coming up saying nice things. I'm just kind of like, I'm uneasy with it, It's funny, but it is different, and it's a nice different, obviously. But when you kind of went through what we went through, you just laugh at it because it all turns. You're the worst. Everybody wants you gone. Then you start winning, and it just changes the whole storyline. So you take the good with the bad with it, and you just try to take it in stride, even the good, because I always think you can't be a fraud. You can't, when people kill you, they want you fired, they're bashing you, you don't know what you're doing. Or you can't say block out the noise. And then when it's good and everybody loves you, you can't bring on more noise. So you just try to take it all in stride. That's sports. It's not our fan base. That is the nature of the business, and you can't take it personal. You just gotta, and again, good or bad, you can't buy into it when it's good because you can have one bad week and nobody's gonna like you again, and they think you don't know what you're doing. So it's just you just hope the right people understand the process, and you just go from there.
I know you guys are on the road now, but just the last couple home games, having the crowds that you guys have, how big of a difference does that make just for your guys?
It's been good, but I still think it can be better. I think our fans need to embrace this team, and they've been good. The ones that have come have been really, really good, but there's another dimension to it that I think people are holding back a little bit, and I'm not sure why, and maybe it's last year, but these guys deserve great fan support. They've done all the right things on and off the court to kind of rebuild this image and the brand of the program, and we didn't take that lightly. They play the right way. They play hard. They defend. They're selfless. They have no ego. So there's a lot of dimensions of why this should be a team that people can root for. So hopefully Penn State and Nebraska, those games concern me more than the other ones. I mean, they all concern me, but you got to get our fans to understand that those are really good teams. So hopefully Saturday, Penn State can be a terrific crowd, the best of the year, because we need that. I like our team, but we need that extra boost. And it's been awesome environments and games at home. I mean, there's been, 4 overtime games in conference, and they've been entertaining. So our fans have gotten their money's worth. So hopefully the last 2 ones are terrific environments, because sometimes the casual fan may not respect the Penn State and Nebraska, where coaching staff, our players absolutely do.
Do you think there's a competitiveness in this group that you haven't had yet on any of your previous teams?
I think there's a selflessness. There is no ego. Like, they just want to win. I didn't play Akeem, whatever that was, the last couple of minutes. I didn't play Reggie. They did not care. They were the happiest guys on the bench. I took Dupree out of starting lineup. He did not care. Did not say a word about it. We had a 10-second conversation about it. No big deal. Murph, I was sitting for a big stretch during the game. He's the biggest cheerleader on the team. So there's a selflessness that they do just want to. They just want to win, like they really do, and you can't take that for granted, because not every team has that. I do think that through the stretch of the last 10 games, they got mentally tougher. You can see it on their faces. So maybe when it comes to competitiveness, that a little bit. And I do think last year helped the returners. It helped Dupree, it helped Murph, it helped Nate, it helped Bakari, it helped them grow, and it was good for them.
Your bench, you
have not said a word. And like Michael was playing, he was that guy, and then he just wasn't playing well, and I went with JR just because he's a little bit older. But both guys didn't say one word. Like, you look at Michael Hurt on the bench, he's the first one up, and he's celebrating other people's success. Gass has not said one word to me about playing time, and he's the hardest worker on the team in practice. When we do drills, he's loud, he's communicating. He just wants to help the team win. And JR is the same way. Like, he never said a word about it and kept practicing hard. And doesn't mean they don't have bad days, but it's been contagious, just that selflessness.